Today I'll walk you through doing an oil change on a Scion IQ. Now you would think it'd be really easy to do oil change in a car like this. Turns out it's really not. The reason is it requires a special tool to remove the oil filter cartridge. And the filter cartridge is actually something that, it's not a standard filter. It's actually a cartridge filter. And it has all these O-rings, and that's your actual filter. It's not a real canister filter like you're used to seeing. It's a cartridge, which is a little odd. Cartridge filters were real big back in the 1950s, and then they phased them out when they came out with canister filters because they're easier to use. But for some reason, Toyota decided to go back to the old school days. So you're going to be using a cartridge and a special tool. The other thing is that this filter is kind of hard to find. You can't really find it at your regular auto parts store. This had to go and be purchased at the dealership. Now the good news is that it was only about $6, so it's not really expensive. If you go to an auto parts store, usually about $10 or so. So you save a little bit of money, but you got to go to the dealership. So you got to buy the tool. Let's just take a second to appreciate how ridiculous this looks. I've got some 3-ton floor jacks under this bad boy. Got it jacked up like that. I almost knocked it over with the jack, but pretty hilarious. I've never seen something like that before in my life. Before you get started, let's look at the tools you're going to require. You'll need something to put the oil into. You don't want to just dump it into the driveway or into the street. You'll need some oil, 0W20. I didn't even know they made this stuff. It's like baby oil. You need about 3.7 is what it says on the label. In my experience, that after you drain the oil, there's still a little bit left, so don't just put 3.7 in. What we're going to do is we're going to fill about 3, 3.25, and then we'll check. You will need a socket. It's going to be a metric, 14 millimeter. It's what you'll need there. You're going to need a specialty tool. You can only get it at a Toyota dealership. You could probably find one at a third-party auto parts store, but it's been my experience that they don't work. The one you're looking for is a 64 millimeter. This is probably about $10. You'll need a big crescent wrench. That's what I use to remove this thing. And then you need the filter itself. Like I said earlier, you can only get it at the dealership. It has all these extra parts in it. You're going to have these O-rings that are very important. You're going to have like this spout to drain the oil out of the cartridge thing, and I'll talk about that. You're also going to need some paper towels, and of course you'll need a jack and some jack stands. So here we are beneath the engine. This little tiny thing right here, believe it or not, that's your oil pan. It's like the size of a small plate. This is your oil drain. That's your out there. This guy down here, this is where your oil filter is at. It's inside of this thing. And I'll get you a different angle so we can take a better look. But that oil drain tool you're going to need, or that tool, will fit on top of this piece here. And this is how we're removing that filter, is through here. That's going to go on, it's going to pull it right off. But first we have to drain the oil out of it. What we'll do first is we're going to go ahead and drain the oil out of the oil pan, and then we'll proceed with draining the oil out of the filter. So at this point, it's pretty much standard. We're just going to remove this guy here. I'm going to drain the oil out. There we go. Now this car is cool. Not cool like, oh my god, it's the coolest car ever. The engine is not hot. Now the engine oil runs about 250 degrees at its peak. Those guys that do oil changes and the car is burning hot, they do it for a living, but you and I, you don't want to burn yourself when you're doing this, so let your car cool off a little bit. And here we go. Get ready to make a mess. Here's what the paper towels are for. Oh my god, there's a lot of bulk in there. There we go. Just let that drain out. And like I said, it's like baby oil. It's so thin. Alright, at this point, the engine's pretty much done draining. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug it back up. Clean up some of the excess here. And go ahead and return this bad boy. And tighten it back up. One thing about your oil drain plug is you don't want to over tighten it. You hand tighten it as far as it'll go. These things are made out of like aluminum, right? So once you do that, then you'll go ahead and apply it. Twist it in place. You don't want to over tighten, because if you damage this thing, if you ever take it somewhere else to get an oil change, nobody's going to want to do it. Or you have to get one of those rubber oil drain stoppers that nobody likes to use. So there we go. Simply just hand tightening it. So now we're going to move on, and we're going to drain the oil out of this thing right here, and I'll show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this thing off of here, this extension, And the end of my ratchet, the square piece in here, actually fits in that opening. It's a little trick there. So I'm going to go ahead and insert it. I'm going to twist off this disc. Just like this. A little bit of oil is going to come out, but that's not the main amount of oil we're looking to remove. That's just the cap. Just like this. So your oil filter is going to come with this little spigot here. This is to drain the oil out of here. What you're going to do is you're simply just going to push it in. It's supposed to click in place. There we go. Just like that. Again, paper towels. Worth every penny. Okay, so it's done draining now, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. Pull it off. Yowza. We're not going to need that guy anymore. So now we're going to take this tool we got from the dealer, pop it on top of the cartridge cap like that, and use our crescent wrench to turn it off. There we go. Dang goodness, I almost had a heart attack right there. There we go. So here's what the fuss is all about with these things. It's basically a cartridge that's inside. There's a lot of oil in here. This is the oil filter, this cartridge. And it'd be a lot easier to use a canister instead of this whole mechanism here. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the cartridge. I'm going to set it there so it can drain. We're going to clean off this housing. Here's the cap that we added. They're always tough to get off. You got to pry it off with a screwdriver for some reason. There we go. A little bit of elbow grease to pull this bad boy off. There we go. Finally. And again, we're just going to wipe it down. I want to leave excess oil on these things because if it leaks, we want to know it's leaking, not that I just didn't wipe it properly. So these next parts are so important they put it on the actual box. There's a diagram here that shows you how to properly install the O-ring. There's also a diagram that shows you how to drain the cartridge. Okay, so this next part is extremely important. The O-ring here is going to be replaced. You always want to replace that because it's going to get corroded. If this ring fails, you're going to drip oil all over the place. And I actually changed, for those of you that watch my RAV4 video, I changed the oil on my wife's RAV4 and I put the O-ring down here and it flooded the entire neighborhood with oil. So you don't want to do that. To keep it simple, you want to do this at the same time. You're going to remove the O-ring with the old one and you're going to put on the new one in one shot. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this one off. And it's not made out of any kind of fancy rubber. As a matter of fact, this one's already pretty brittle. I'm going to give this thing a wipe with my filthy paper towel. Your filter comes with new O-rings. They even have a little tear here for you to make it easier. We take out the new O-ring. Going to slip it on. And it's going to go in that groove there where the old one was at. Again, extremely important. Probably the most important part of the entire oil change. Probably even more important than putting oil in the car. So make sure you put the O-ring in this groove here. Go ahead and slide it in. This little tiny piece of rubber is what prevents your engine from dying. It's that important. The other O-ring that's provided will go in the bottom here. I'm going to take this piece of O-ring, it's going to set them in here, and it doesn't want to fit properly. That's okay. I'm just going to work it in there. Get a little bit of oil, get them a little wet. The reason you put some oil on him is because when you start to tighten this cap back on, if there's too much friction, you'll snap it. And then you're out of luck. This O-ring, not so important. This O-ring, extremely important. Now we can go ahead and put this cap back on. Just twist this right on like this. And we're just going to hand tighten it. Doesn't have to be super tight, not like it was earlier. Someone was trying to kill me before. Just hand tighten. That's good enough. Now we're ready to put the new filter back in. There's your new filter. Slides onto this little shaft in here. And there you go. On the last oil change video I did, this part was a huge debate between people, whether or not you have to pre-fill your oil filter before you add it in. Some people argued you didn't have to do it, it wasn't necessary. Other people said you absolutely have to do it. One guy said that when you fill the engine oil, it drains all the way, it basically goes down the engine and just fills it up anyway. So I'm just kind of wasting my time. Other people feel that if you don't fill it when you start the engine, there's a few seconds where the engine's running dry and you could cause damage. I don't know what's true. I'm just going to play it safe. And I'm just going to add a little bit of oil to my filter, just so it's not completely dry. I'm not going to flood it. I'm not going to fill it to the top. I'm just going to add some to pre-moisten it. So when I do start the engine, if it does run dry for a split second, maybe it'll run dry for a little bit less of a split second. So I'm going to go ahead and just get that thing ready for us. There we go. So like I did with the other O-ring, before I put this one on, I'm just going to pre-moisten this with a little bit of oil. We don't want it to go on dry. You don't want a dry rub. We don't want the O-ring to fail. You can't get an O-ring separately by itself. You have to go buy a whole other filter, spend another $6. So now we're just going to go ahead and reinsert it into the housing in here. Just going to go ahead and twist it in place. It's going to go so far, hand tight. And if you feel it pop, you're screwed. Because if it pops, it means you didn't pre-moisten that O-ring, and it means you snapped it. You don't want to do that. Bad. Again, if that O-ring snaps, it's mission critical. It means you're in trouble. Now you're going to take your fancy dealership tool. I'm not going to put it all the way on because I got it stuck last time. I'm just going to kind of hold it here, and I'm going to use my crescent wrench or pliers or whatever you want. I'm going to tighten it back in place. Twist it in place. Take it the last few inches. Oh, I got it stuck. Oh, I didn't. Stay. There we go. And that's good enough. You don't have to go extreme tight. I don't know who put it on last time, but God, they really didn't like me. Here we go. So let's tighten back on. Once again, we're going to wipe it down. So at this point, we've drained all the oil. We've replaced the cartridge. We put some new O-rings in here. And we cleaned this bad boy and we resealed the oil pan. So now we're ready to add the oil to the engine. Alright, so this little bitty tiny engine here, the oil fill is going to be right here. We're just going to take this little cap off. Here's where we're going to put the oil when we're ready for it. For now, I'm going to go ahead and remove it. I'm just going to set it up here. So in case you didn't know, these are designed that you can pour the engine oil and control it. You pour it like this. You can control the stream so it doesn't spill anywhere versus pouring it like this. And I actually have a buddy of mine that can pour engine oil straight into the opening without spilling a drop. I'm not that cool. I'm using a funnel. Now, I had a funnel. Have no clue what happened to it. If you lost your funnel like me, you can simply cut off the top of a Dr. Pepper bottle and you've got an instant funnel. I'm just going to pop that in there. So the side of the engine, the side of the bottle. So the side of the bottle has these markings. So this is going to be 4 quarts, oi mosquito, 3 quarts, 2 quarts, and then 1 quart. From here to the top is a 5th quart. This is a 5-quart container. The Scion uses 3.7 quarts of oil. How much is 3.7? Probably to about, I don't know, here. But here's the thing, we drained the oil out. It probably still has some oil in it. We're going to add roughly about 3 quarts. 1, 2, 3, till about this point. And then we're going to stop and check. I don't want to overfill the engine oil because then you have to drain some out, which is a pain in the butt. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. The dipstick is going to be way over here. I'm going to pull that out. How long this thing is for the little bitty engine we got. It's like it goes way back to the back of the car. But we want to make sure that our engine oil doesn't overfill. Alright, so here we go. 3 quarts. That's our goal. Very carefully. Yeah, not like I just did, spilling it all over the engine. Way to go, me. It's rough and tough, about 3 quarts. I'm going to go ahead and lower the car now to level it out, and then I'm going to go ahead and give it another check. Alright, so now that the car is back at a normal level, I'm going to go ahead and check the setting, see how much oil we need to add, or if we're there. I'm going to reinsert the dipstick. I'm going to pull it back out. It looks like there's nothing in there. So we need a little bit more oil. One more time. And we look like we're right up to the full part at this point. So, mission accomplished. The exact amount of oil. So there is an indicator light in here to let you know that your oil needs to be changed, and it'll actually say maintenance required up here. Here's a picture of what it looks like. That light is designed to come on at every 5,000 miles to let you know it's time for an oil change. It doesn't actually talk to the engine. Now if you see a light come on that has an engine oil indicator, you got a problem with not enough oil. But if the maintenance required comes on and stays on, it basically means it's time for an oil change. Now to reset it, you can do it yourself. What you're going to do is you're going to take your key and you're going to insert it, and you're going to turn the car. Like we're going to turn it on, turn off your AC. Now we're going to go here, and we want it to basically go to trip A. So there's your odometer, there's trip A. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn the car off, I'm going to hold the button down, and I'm going to turn it again. And you see these little dots here that are counting down? Those dots are letting you know, and then it's going to go to 0. Once it goes to 0, you know that you've now successfully reset the engine oil light. So now when you turn it on, that maintenance light is gone.